Hear ye, lords of that pedal show shire. Welcome to Coronation Pickin, or 6 ways to achieve ruling tone.
Verily.
Hello, welcome to that pedal show.
Yes, indeed. Dan here.
Mick here, hello. Hear ye, lords of that pedal show shire. You have been set a challenge in honour of the coronation of King Charles III of the United Kingdom and 14 other Commonwealth countries.
Very good.
To mark the new sovereign's accession to the throne, you must undertake, wait for it, Dan,
Okay.
your own accession to tone.
Nice. Very good.
Please tell me I said throne and not tone in the first one. Anyway, and put together a right royal rig that celebrates the new king with references to the British monarchy, heraldry, and, well, you know, all that stuff. You
Yes, indeed, yep.
In order to complete Coronation Pickin, or 6 ways to achieve ruling tone, you must choose up to 5 items and at least 1 guitar.
Okay.
But instead of the usual pointless procession of obscure and irrelevant tasks that we'd normally have, you must instead, via your noble nominations,
Yes.
demonstrate 3 core principles of tone.
Oh, okay. So there's actual purpose to this.
There is actual purpose.
Okay.
5 things. Choose 5 things that are royal related to demonstrate 3 core principles of tone for the sole benefit of the people, as if this wasn't complicated enough already.
Okay, I like it.
5 things, royal related or heraldic related,
Right.
to demonstrate 3 core concepts of tone. So we might all learn something.
We might. That's a big might.
Yeah. So go ye.
Ye going.
Go ye among the gear of the gods and choose your regal rig.
I like it. Very good.
Right then, we got so much stuff. This is going to be quite difficult, I think. So I'm going to resort to our database of things. We do keep a database, would you believe? So the search function is a bit rubbish. It's not. I'm struggling with it. So I've just literally started flicking through all the brand names, and of the brand names I've come up with: Boonar, Prince, Diamond, Kingsley, Kingtone, Union, Tube and Transistor. So there's quite a lot of options there. We've also got the Royal Jelly by B-Tronics. We've got the Royal Overdrive by Van Velden. Amps-wise, I'm thinking Tone King, but if Dan doesn't choose that, I'll be amazed. And I might run a dual amp rig, I think, with a Princeton. Prince and Tone King, that'll work. So one of my concepts can be talking about 2 amps. I'm just going to have a quick look around the shelves to see if anything obvious jumps out. Probably going past something really obvious, aren't I? I think I'll probably use the Boonar Prince Boonar. King of Tone, Prince of Tone, obviously. If Dan doesn't choose that, I'll be amazed. Kingtone. So we could use Jesse's Fuzz or the Overdrive. Kingtone. Clon, Centaur, not really. Royal Overdrive. Now there's a candidate, so that might be possible. I would have thought there'd be something in Thorpe's thing, but they tend not to. They tend to be more military related. So bearing in mind this is the usual silliness I get involved with pedalboard wise, going to shrink that right back and do a very simple wet dry board with 3 pedals. The Kingtone Duelist, the Diamond Pedals Vibrato, Boonar by Boonar Prince, which is a multi-head delay, and I'm going to split all that wet dry using the TheGigRig Humdinger. Hopefully that doesn't count as a device. The tiny little Schmidt array board there might be a job to get them all on, because they've all got flipping side mounted jacks. It's going to be relatively simple. Input, dualist, split. One side goes modulation vibrato into the delay and down one side, and then the other side of this will go straight to the other amp. So I'll show you that one I've done. Interjection, I've just remembered something about the Boonar. It flips the phase when you turn it on. I might have to rethink. Just Googled it and there might be a fix. So apparently it's got, same as the Bellypop Deluxe. It's got a Trails mode and a buffer always on, well, buffer always on Trails or true bypass mode set on these here dipping switches there. It's currently set to true bypass. If I'm to believe the manual. True bypass, 3 down, 1 up. Oh no, it is set to Trails. In which case, it should be alright then, it shouldn't flip phase. Wow, I am running into some hilarious problems. So the Diamond Vibrato, I've just looked on the back for the power consumption. Don't know if you can see that, 24 volt DC. That's a fairly hefty requirement. Thankfully, Daniel does a device which is 9 to 24 volt centre positive, which is called Electro-Man, which I assume is for Electro-Harmonix pedals. So a moment of truth then, I'm going to turn it on and hopefully everything will work. As far as the signal path goes, I'll just put a diagram up, might be easier than... Okay, Boonar is working. Diamond is working. Kingtone is working. The guitar, what on earth do we do for guitar? So let's have a look. I mean, these are my guitars, right? Gretsch. Falcon, not really. Epiphone Casino, not really. Gibson ES335. Fender Stratocaster. The only thing I can think of with Fenders is they're made in Coronation, California. Corona, California. So there might be something there. Supro, PRS, Dean Cutler, DGT. No, not really working. I think the guitar's going to be a real challenge. Actually, there's another amp here. Super Duchess. That would work. That would totally work.
Okay, after much deliberation, I've got my 4 pedals. It's interesting being an Australian living in the UK for a coronation. In Australia, the monarchy was never a really big deal. Certainly, nowhere I was from. And even though we did have royalists, it was kind of rare. But living here, and the kids growing up with the Queen. And we've been to Buckingham Palace, and it's it's part of the life here. But being Australian, I'm going to throw a little bit of a reference in there. So I've chosen my 4 pedals. They are, see if you can work out what the story is. I've got an Angry Charlie. I've got my Electric Mistress. I've got the Majestic from J-Rocket Audio, and I've also got my old TC Electronic Alter Ego. I love this thing, it sounds great. Gonna put them on a board, and I'm gonna throw a tuner on there as well. Cool, okay, let's get it together. Go. All plugged in, all working. Not bad for a little just quick throw together thing. Yeah, very cool. Chapeau. There's the thummy. Dealing with the crowds is exhausting work.
It is. You never quite get used to it. I do like these capes though.
Yeah, they're great.
If you can't wear a cape on Coronation Day, what can you do is the question. For anyone currently having kittens about all the signage and everything, don't get too wrapped up in it. It's just for the gag. So Dan, we've been off. We've got our stuff together.
Yes.
What shall we reveal first?
Rock, paper, scissors.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Fire. Sorry.
Let's do the amps.
Okay. All right.
Ready?
Yeah. Ah. Come on.
So, explain your choice.
Well,
I'm going to take this off.
um,
On this.
my whole thing follows a storyline.
Right.
But,
Why do I think this is going to be tenuous?
Indeed. Well, King Charles is the Field Marshal of the British military.
Much less tenuous than I thought it was going to be.
There you go. Well, that bodes well for me then.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
There's a pedal I really hope you've chosen, but I don't know if you would have done or
He's
not.
also the Air Marshal. He's commander of the Navy, but he's also the the Marshal of the Royal Air Force and the Field Marshal of the Army.
There we are then.
There we go.
So,
Double Marshal.
So you've got a Marshall JCM 45, I see.
Indeed.
And a 212 cap. Okay, I've gone for Tone King, obviously.
Imperial.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm amazed you didn't choose that, but anyway.
Yeah.
Tone King Imperial and Princeton. Now, I know Princeton is a university in America, but it also says Prince.
Yeah.
So that'll do. And I've gone for a 2-amp rig, which obviously we'll talk about. Yeah. Come on then.
Very good. Okay. What I'm going to do mine, all right? Because I've got to do mine in sections. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'll do mine first.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Kingtone Duelist.
Yeah, very good.
Dorner Prince Boonar.
That's very good.
And Diamond Vibrato. Now, Diamond might be a little bit tenuous, but I think the King Charles III there has a fair few diamonds in his collection, and we would say that diamonds are associated with royalty, wouldn't we?
Okay, very good.
In a wet dry setup, by the way, which we'll get into.
Okay. I tell you what, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I've had to put, because of the bypass, and this is so terrible. But hang on.
You've done it.
I've done it. So,
I was so hoping you would do it.
Has anyone seen Charles run out of ink in a pen? So, this is the Angry Charlie. Right?
Congratulations, mate. That is just some spectacular work there. I do need to just zoom out pedal cam a little bit.
So, the Angry Charlie. So, who's he marrying? Camilla. Originally.
Married.
Camilla,
He married her a long time ago.
well, yeah, sorry. Who's he married to? Who's going to be the queen?
Yeah.
Right? Originally, Camilla was his girlfriend.
Oh!
Then,
They'll send you back to Australia for this, mate.
then she became his...
Mistress. For anyone worried about the over-fawning of the royal family, you can see it's not really going in that direction. Okay, so, yeah.
Yep.
That's... I mean, you're smashing it so far, mate.
There we go.
Yeah.
And they will be kneeling at the altar. Taking their...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because there's an altar that's part of the procedure where a crown will be printed on their
And
heads.
majestic as in majesty.
Yeah,
Awesome.
not bad.
Yeah, I'd say so far, mate. I've gone for literal. You've gone for something far more creative.
Well, and the whole thing shall be presided over by the Archtop of Bishop of Canterbury.
I thought you were going for some sort of B.B. King reference.
No.
The archtop of Bishop of Canterbury. Very good. The guitar was the hardest bit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So I went through all the guitars and I tried to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. So I've gone for a gold guitar. It's gold, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's bit royal. Made in Coronation, California. Made in
Very
Corona,
good.
California. So Coronation.
Right.
Yeah, a Fender Strat, a gold Fender Strat.
What were some things that nearly made it?
The Angry Charlie,
Yeah, okay.
definitely. The Royal Overdrive.
Yes, right.
I had a good look at that.
I had the
Royal Tone.
Royal Tone
Yeah.
fuzz.
Anything from Simon at Kingsley, obviously.
I was trying really hard to get Camilla in there. I nearly went for the Camilla toe.
Ooh. Oh, that would have been even better than the Electric Mistress. Well, if you're still watching, let's get on with the show. Some slightly unhappy amping going on back there. To start with, Dan,
Yes.
just plug in, play some stuff, turn some stuff on, turn it off, and we'll just give the people a listen to what's going on.
Okay. You've out-toned me.
I don't know.
No, I do.
I have
It sounds-
discovered Achilles' heel in this here volume control, which has gone dodgy.
Okay.
So apologies for that. Okay. We had a good run through each of the boards there. You heard all of the stuff. We said in the video we would try and explain three things.
Yes.
Three concepts.
Yes.
Using this stuff to try and help inform, educate and inspire in the way that the BBC does, Daniel.
Okay.
No, inform, educate, and entertain, isn't it? That's the BBC's remit. I'm going to have a drink. You want a drink?
I'll have a drink. Yeah. So, awesome.
I've got some white wine.
Oh,
How's that?
oh, love a sip.
Little sip of white
A
wine.
little sip of white wine.
Why not? Congratulations, Mr. Charles.
Yeah. Charlie. Hello, Charlie boy.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming, mate.
He's been waiting a while.
I had a bit of a wait.
That's plenty for me, thanks.
And yeah, cheers, and to everyone else.
Yeah,
cheers.
yeah.
Nice. It's from southeastern Australia,
Oh, lovely.
which I believe is part of the Commonwealth.
I believe, as of this moment, as of this recording, yes,
Yeah.
it is part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
We did something a long time ago. We removed something.
We sent all the wrong ones there, and then you started all coming back. So,
Well,
yeah, a bit of nice
who was
colonial
gonna-
history for you.
Who's going to serve beer in your pubs?
I know. And other things.
Who's going to sit in the corner and play loud acoustic songs and annoy everyone?
I was going to turn that off because I've got some interferalization going on. Come on then.
All right.
Concept number one.
Concept
from you
number
then,
one.
Daniel.
I always run my flanger into my gain stages, right? And I'll quickly show you what it does. For me, Electric Mistress, this is my original one. This is 77 or 78, and it just has the best.
When Prince Charles was only 61 in 1978, wasn't he?
Yeah. So I go, Mummy, when is it my turn?
Not yet.
So here's the Mistress.
Can I just say, it's nice to see you playing that guitar.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Archbishop of Bishop of Canterbury.
Do you like it?
Very much so.
Good.
Very much so.
You never get that out of digital flanger.
You just-
never
no,
get that
doesn't
extent of that
happen.
lovely high end.
So that high end is delicious, but it's problematic when you run a gain stage into it because it accentuates all the fizz. But by running that into an overdrive stage, so if you think about all the great rock and roll flanger tones, whether it's Barracuda or Eddie Van Halen or David Gilmour or blah, 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 most of the time, the sounds that I really love, just take Eddie, his amp was cranked,
Yeah.
right? And what's happening with that flanger, like his old MXR flanger, you've got the flanger going into a limiting amplifier, and that's taking care of all that. It sort of dampens down all that top end. So
Yeah, because it's overdriving a bit.
Exactly.
It rounds it out a bit, whereas in a very high headroom linear response, it's just going to be like...
yeah, exactly. So when you hear that top end, but when I put that into the Angry Charlie, you get. So I'm not fundamentally changing the sound of the Angry Charlie. But what I get is that movement into it. And obviously it's imparting the character of it, but it doesn't all of a sudden become really bright. And yeah, so I that's my favorite thing about having my flanges before my gain stages. It sort of incorporates, it sort of becomes part of that gain sound.
Even though It's before the Angry Charlie. I was changing the tone controls on the Angry Charlie there quite a bit, and it was having very little effect. So it shows how powerful that the Mistress is even placed before the Charlie.
Yeah.
You would expect it afterwards, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, wow.
Yeah. So if you're into flanges, try it into your gain stages.
Yeah, so the standard, we try not to say things like that, but the kind of usual standard stroke thing you'd read in a guitar magazine, and heaven knows I've written enough of them. Effects guides would say stick your modulation after your overdrives, but in the case of an analog flanger, you're saying try it before.
Absolutely.
Happy days.
Yep.
All right, my first thing is going to be about using 2 amps. As you know, Dan and I are massive advocates of using 2 amps, and once you've used 2 amps, it's very difficult to go back from there. So we've got the Princeton and the Tone King, and there's a couple of things you need to be aware of when using 2 amps. So I'll just turn the Princeton up, give you a little listen to that. Princeton reverb reissue, standard Princeton reverb reissue, nice bit of reverb. It's on about 4.5.
Beautiful.
It would overdrive a lot more than that if you wanted it, but nice reverb. I might have to change guitars. If at some point I think this volume control is cutting out a load of volume, I might just have to swap guitars.
You've got another gold Strat there.
I'm very sorry to say, yeah, it wasn't made in Corona though.
Oh, okay, okay.
It would have been made in Fullerton, I think. So what I'm going to do is switch on the other amp, right? The signal path will be on screen, so you'll be able to see what's happening. Quite cool. Then what you need to do with 2 amps is check the phase of the 2 amps. Mm-hmm. They're on one phase at the moment. Mm-hmm. The device I'm using to split them is called a Humdinger. Dan makes it, and it flips the phase on the second output. So here's what happens when we flip the phase. What I really hope you were hearing in the recording is that the first one was out of phase and the second one was in phase. Yeah. An easy way to test that is to play a low note, listen to the bottom end, stand in a few different places in the room, because it can be deceptive. Yeah. But I'm relatively happy that that one was in phase.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, and then with the 2 amps connected in that way, you just get an increase in bass coupling. The whole thing sounds bigger, and it's just really nice.
I really love the sound of a 10 and 12 together.
Yeah, okay, so the Princeton has a 10-inch speaker, yeah. The Tone King has a 1x12-inch cab, so they're mixing, is what Dan said. Before we get into the wet-dry thing in a minute, what you can then do is you can use the amp's own effects that it might have on board. And in this case, both amplifiers have got reverb and tremolo. So I'm just going to actually do this because it's quite hard work.
It's a nice strap.
Standing up. This is a nice strap.
Beautiful
Imagine
strap.
if you could buy one at that pedal show store in the affected section. Imagine that. So all I'm going to do is turn the tremolo and reverb up and down in both amps so you'll be able to hear
yeah,
that.
cool.
Yeah. In the room it sounds totally stereo, but I can promise you the only amp doing tremolo is a Tone King. Weird noises. So long before anything, there was nothing on the pedal board, just so you know.
Yeah.
That's literally just using the
Stuff in the
effects
amps.
in the amplifier, the
Amazing.
onboard tremolo and reverb. Really
Amazing.
cool sound. Really
Yeah.
cool sound.
Awesome. Okay, so number 2 from me, I want to talk a little bit about volume, especially when it comes to gain stages. So I've started off with the Marshall, like, reasonably tame.
Yeah.
Okay. And at a reasonably tame level, if I kick the Angry Charlie, is run out of ink.
I've just remembered the tone pots work backwards.
Yeah. So,
Cheers.
cheers. We didn't cheers before.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Sorry about the cups.
That's
I know you're Australian.
fantastic. Right, if I'm playing quietly, right?
What you do? Yes, no.
If I'm playing quietly, that level of gain is fun, right? Because everything is limited and it's, you can go fiddly widdly all the way home. Now,
I think you need more gain.
yeah, gain's over the other side. So
Sorry, mate.
So there's a huge amount of gain in this thing, right? But what happens with you when you set up a sound like that, right? And that's fun at home, but I get to the gig and I've got to turn the amp up a little bit. So just watch the levels there. I'm going to turn the amp up just a hair.
I'll be level.
You'll be level man.
Level controller.
Okay. So now that's still not crazy loud. Definitely louder than it was before. And if I went into a pub and I set the amp up, that's about where I'd be starting, right? But have a listen to what happens when I kick the overdrive pedal on at the same level I had it when the amp was quiet. It's a really ugly sound. It's really important to remember that when you turn your amp up, it doesn't just change the volume of the amp. Everything inside the amp changes. The way the...
Amazing how much... I mean, I don't know, I was stood in a different place, but I was perceiving a great deal more upper mid-range.
Yeah, so all that fat bottom end that we had when it was quiet, I've turned the amp up, and that's basically not there anymore because the amp is sort of, with that level of input, sort of running out of headroom. But yeah, everything in the amp changes. So when you change volume, you need to go back and check, you know, especially your gain stages, but you need to check how much gain you're running, because the first thing I will do is turn that level of gain down, even for like a heavier sound. If I need lots of distortion, the amp is already working harder, and it's just gonna, it doesn't transfer the way it would when the amp is quiet. So one of the things, like I like recording with a quiet amp. I think that can be really fun, like a high headroom, but quiet amp, because you can get a lot of detail. But if I'm playing live, I'll cut that level of gain in half, right? So instantly I've got dynamics back. I can still get all the sustain and everything that I was at quieter volumes. I had to have so much more gain in there to get that sort of level of sustain. But when the amp turns up, I can dial all that back and just let the volume and that do the work. I don't have to work so hard.
Yeah, let the guitar do it.
Let the guitar do it. Let that volume create the relationship between the guitar and the speaker, and then all that stuff can just happen.
So much more front of the note. The sustain's there because the volume helps give it, and it's not lost in fizz. It's amazing. I mean, the volume's on the gain's on 9 o'clock there.
Yeah,
right back from where it was.
But it still feels punchy. It's still doing its thing.
Still tons of gain as well.
Yeah, exactly. So when you turn the amp up, just remember the way the amp's going to respond is different. You'll need to spend some time getting everything dialed in just right.
We certainly discover that on our experience days. So we do experience days here at TPS, and people come in and play. Quite often the board will be set up for playing at home at low volume for obvious reasons. Plug into some loud amps and it's like, wow,
everything's different. Yeah.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about wet dry for my next thing. I know we bang on about it a lot on TPS, but as we said earlier, Dan and I are massive advocates of using 2 amps. What 2 amps offers you then to do is to send one chain of effects down to one amp and one down to the other. What I've got here is the Duelist will hit both amps. So the overdrive pedal will hit both amps. The Boonar, which is the delay, and the Diamond Vibrato, which does vibrato and chorus, will only hit one amp. So if I just turn the wet amp on, so the amp I'm going to turn on is the Tone King. That's getting everything, I think. Yeah, the Tone King's getting everything, and as you'll hear, we'll layer that up and you'll hear it as it comes to life. So this is just the Tone King. It would be.
It's a great sound.
I'm just going to turn its internal reverb down a little bit. So if we add, actually there's two things to demonstrate here. So we'll just turn the delay on a minute. It's just going down one side. I'll turn that off. Here's what happens when we have vibrato on one side. What does the jazz switch do?
It's bright dull switch.
So in the up is brighter, is it? Yeah, okay. So you'll hear a pitch vibrato there, right? Exactly as it says on the tin, it's a vibrato. What you're hearing is pitch modulation created by modulated delay time. It's pretty sickening. Listen to what happens when I turn the Princeton on, which is not getting it. We've done it many times, it creates natural chorus.
It's just so good.
Now when we send the Boonar down to the Tone King as well, we've only got delay on one side. And what happens is you can retain the punch of the dry amp. So it just sounds a bit more big and together.
Amazing.
Just mega.
It's just amazing.
Just opens the sound up massively. And the wet dry thing, I know we talk about it a lot. I know regular viewers will have heard about it a lot. But Dan and I will scream it from the rooftops forevermore, because once you try it, it's so hard to go back.
Yeah, it totally is.
So there you go. I think, what did we cover there? We covered the opportunities that wet dry opens up, and as a bonus, how actual chorus is created.
Yeah, beautiful. So my last thing is an extension on from my second thing. I'm going to, at volume, okay, I'm going to start where I was originally with the volume 10 down, and then I'm going to add delay to that sound, and then you're going to hear what happens to the delay when it gets turned back up. So, and this is fascinating. So I'm going to turn the volume down. So we're going to be about here. So I've got the delay set up this really nice sort of multi-tap thing. And I've also got the Majestic after the Angry Charlie. So for a solo boost, it just tightens up the bottom end, gives a nice little mid lift. So at these levels, it's all lovely. But when I get this to where I had it before, love that. As soon as the amp starts working, the amp is limiting more, right? There isn't enough room on the input to have a small signal and then, have this delay stuff. As soon as the amp's turned up, it just doesn't have enough room. So if there's a loud delay and the amp's already limiting, it's going to be as loud as everything else there. So it is then doubly important, once you've got your gain stuff sorted out, to then go back and look at what's going on with your reverbs and delays. Otherwise, they're just going to become part of the amp limiting. And you absolutely can run really nice delays and reverbs into an amp that's sort of on the edge. It works great. You just have to be really specific and take your time about setting up that delay level. And it's as simple as this. I'm going to turn the delay level to 0. Hear the point where it just turned on? Now with the boost added, So
Little exercise in feedback control there as well.
yeah, absolutely. But amps loud, gains down, got the delay level just right. The beautiful thing about getting it set up like that is I just don't have to work very hard
Yeah.
to make a meaningful noise.
It almost requires you to just let a bit more space happen, doesn't it? And you can let that feedback develop. It's really interesting when you had the delay level up higher. What you then heard was the unpleasant oscillation thereafter, because there's overdrive in it and it gets really nasty. You just knock that down, the delay still sounds really nice, and you just lose that unpleasantness in too much oscillating ocelots.
Yes.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay, for my final thing, we can either do multi-head delay. That will do both really quickly. Multi-head delay, and I want to just do a tiny bit on basic gain staging, because it's the question we get asked more than any other. We have done whole videos on it, but maybe just a little bit of revision here will help. So let's start with multi-head delay. Most delay pedals, really weird interference today. Most delay pedals have one head. You play one thing and then it's repeated once. On a multi-head delay pedal, and for a multi-head we could think of, where does it start? Starts with tape echoes in the 50s, then becomes other tape echoes in the 70s, such as the Roland Space Echo, drum echoes, basically anything that you play one note and it repeats it in a number of ways. It's easy to see on the Boonar because you've got 4 heads on the top there. These represent the 4 heads in an Echorec type drum delay. I'll make the delays long so you can hear it. Seems weird to turn the knob down, but the drum spins slower, therefore it takes longer to get around, so the delay is longer. Normally, for a longer delay, you'd turn the knob up, right? So, no delay. One head delay. The next head you should hear is longer than that. The next one will be longer again. You guessed it. Sorry about the hum. And by employing a combination of those heads, that's where you get your pattern delays. Now, didn't Davey G use 1, 3 and 4?
I believe so. So what's really important about that, you can hear it's different than just having a delay pedal with the repeats being turned up, right? Because with the repeats being turned up, you still get, it's one delay time that's repeated. What we've got here is imagine that you've got this, is that the swell?
Yeah, we'll get that in a sec.
Imagine that you've got, imagine you've got a tape machine, right? You've got a bit of tape going around. You've got one record head that takes your signal, records it, and then you've got multiple playback heads. So it records the signal, puts it on the tape, and as the tape goes around, it hits the first head, you get it playback. Then there's a time delay between the first head and the second head, and that's when you get that playback, and then another time delay between that third head, fourth head. And what's happening here is we're taking different heads off the tape. So we get, in this one here, we've got bop, 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 and it's a fantastic way to do it, and it's sort of almost like a faux reverb.
I've just turned the reverb off in the amps for that very reason, Because if you think back to early Floyd, Pink Floyd and Syd Barrett era Floyd, you'll hear the echo rec all over that kind of music, and you swear it was a reverb. Before we get there, the swell, does that cascade one head into the other?
Yes.
So before you're just hearing the reverb, them separately, now you're hearing them all smash into one another. If you turn them all on and make the drum go quite fast.
It's so cool.
And it becomes a faux reverb when the drum is going quite quick. Make the drum go really slow, and now it will sound more like a multi-head delay. Oh, if it was turned on.
Just awesome. Just awesome.
So if you don't have reverb in your amp and you don't want to buy a reverb pedal, maybe think about a multi-head delay, because you can start doing that. I did say we do a quick thing on gain staging. By the way, in the little vlog at the beginning, I wasn't sure if the Boonar would or wouldn't flip the phase, and it seems like it's not flipping the phase on and off.
It does flip the phase, but because there's an always-on buffer in it, and the buffer flips the phase.
Yeah, I went through all that, and I found some stuff that said it flips it whatever. But anyway, it doesn't seem to be flipping the phase. The audio will tell the story.
Okay.
Finally then, gain stacking. We'll do this really quickly. Let's say, if you look at the Duelist there, imagine that as two completely separate overdrive pedals, and it's easy to do because the knobs that side are one pedal, the knobs that side are the other, and the signal goes that way, right? So it goes in from the guitar, through this pedal, through that one, and out the other end. Let's say I want a really nice fat overdrive sound, thick. This is sort of based on a blues breaker, so it'll be quite a thick overdrive, right?
Awesome.
Quite a nice thick overdrive sound. Yeah. But let's say I want quite a stingy boost tube screamery type thing without too much overdrive. Mm-hmm. This will be probably quite loud. Nice. Let's say I want now to add those two pedals together to make louder for a solo.
It's louder with the second one off.
Yeah, certainly more present,
Yeah.
more cutty, because what's happening, your first pedal is slamming the second pedal can't cope with it, it's caving in, too much overdrive, too much clip, so it gets quieter and more indistinct. What we have to do in that situation is turn the gain down on the second pedal.
Yeah.
And turn the volume up, which we can do. I've also got it set in the fat mode, right, which is more bass.
Right.
So we're going to take some bass out. We're going to turn the gain down. We're going to turn the volume up. In later versions of this pedal, you can switch them around the other way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
To me, it always makes more sense to have the blues breaker first,
Yes.
with your heavier overdrive, and then the tube screamer after to give you your solo boost. Anyway, if you want to get louder, you need it cleaner and more volume as the second pedal. If you wanted to get it more squashy and overdriving and all caving in on itself, the second pedal wants to be more gainy, less loud.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
we've done it a million times. Nice. Okay then.
My lord.
What did we call this? Coronation Pickin.
Coronation Pickin.
I'm trying to do a Czech version of God Save the King, but I'm not that talented. So we had to put together a rig with royal themed things and
Yes.
come up with 3 concepts.
Yes.
It was a challenge. Hayden, who's won today? I'm giving the crown to you, Mick.
Well done. Well done. Yes, well done.
I think if I'd only had one amp, Dan would have won by a mile.
Your tone
names alone.
Your tone was great. I was pleased with the effort of
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
You know, but you out-toned me today. 2 amps, man. It's a thing.
It's a thing. And we always get asked, don't we, what 2 amps should I put together? I'll put these two together because they both had Prince and
Royalty.
King in the name, right? Those were the selection criteria.
Yep.
I mean, they do happen to be 2 very nice amps, but
They do.
Yeah,
So, hey, no, I want to. You can't just award. You need to. What was the winning factor for you?
I mean, that vibrato is just
As soon as you put
glorious.
that vibrato on, you win. It's just the best sounding thing.
I knew it would upset Dan because it's one of his favourite pedals of all time
Yeah,
ever.
it really is. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, we didn't hear it in chorus mode today. It does do chorus as well.
Yeah.
etc.
Beautiful, beautiful. No, well played, mate. Well, we need to get the challenge board up and need to get the scores on the board.
Yeah.
I think you're one ahead now.
And the wheel of challenge for challenges.
The wheel of challenge for challenges.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool.
That was really fun. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Massive thank you to all of our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderson's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
where we need to go soon.
Yes, we do, to follow up.
Yeah. And also our mates in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane in Queensland.
Yes.
Kingsland now, is it?
Wow. Thank you
sorry,
to our
Brisbane.
patrons
I'm so
on
sorry.
Patreon for your support. Monthly pedal giveaways. You also get podcasts of the VCQs on Mondays. Some really great stuff for the patrons. Thank you very much for your support. And also, of course, massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed some merch. I'm wearing Mick's tape today.
Yes, I'm wearing Stompio Continua. Voyage ye there and avail your groats to us. I was trying to think of a currency and groat was the best I could come up with.
Very good.
Doubloons.
Doubloons, very good.
Yes, your doubloons.
Your pieces of 8.
Yes. And thatpedalshop.com in the US if you want to buy pedals and stuff for the US and Canada.
Beautiful.
Which is also part of the Commonwealth. Is it?
Canada is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
USA not so much
Not
anymore.
much, no. let's see how it goes. Brilliant. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.